What is up, guys? It is the Scarlet Duelist back again with yet another video that I am confident calling pretty good. We are going to run through some Lair of Darkness combos. I've made a few changes to the deck. They're not huge, but there's a lot of room to make changes with this deck because the main deck, if you have the same, I think 20 core cards, you can kind of tech other stuff in and change it around and do what you want. So yeah, just enjoy some of the replays. I'm going to show some combos. This isn't going to be a super long video. I'm going to run through basically how the deck plays, just a few times, maybe do one or two test hands here, this being the first one, explain how to play it and why it may look different than you expect. And then from there, I'll show you the full profile so that those of you that are interested can see what my changes were and build the deck yourself. Remember, again, this is how I play the deck, and it's meant to be kind of a skeleton for you to change how you see fit. You can change this to make it more or less competitive depending on your play setting or your budget. So definitely don't take any of my profiles or videos as me saying this is the best by far, and I know that, because I have no proof. It's just how I think the deck should run, what I think is good. So yeah, with that disclaimer, let's go ahead and play the test hands. Whoa, okay. I haven't actually super paid attention to what I have here. We've got some options, but I think our best option right now would be to go ahead and send, well, we could get Diabolos out of him, but that's not really. I think the best thing to do is activate Arima's effect right now to discard it to get Lair of Darkness, because you really want to see Lair of Darkness. And this is being hecka laggy. Sorry about that. Can't really do much about it. Not really sure why. It was fine before. I think my computer just sucks enough that if I'm screen recording and doing Dueling Book, it's like, oh, I can't handle it. So anyway, that's all right. We'll make it work. So we'll activate Lair of Darkness. This is usually going to be your first move if you have it or see it. But the cool thing is, if you don't see Lair of Darkness right away, it's not the end of the world. It's just nice to see. Here, I would then go ahead and normal summon your Lilith. Because she's a quick effect, you can tribute your opponent's things on their turn. So you definitely want to have her out if it's at all possible. And you're going to get a token from what you're about to do, which will help you bring out a Dark Law on your opponent's turn, which is really fun. So now we'll special summon Destrudo in defense mode with its own effect, and so we'll lose half our life points here. I know I didn't run through the phases, guys. I don't really care. At this point, we're doing test hands, so it's not a huge deal. We're going to use Lilith to tribute Destrudo, so it's actually going to go to the bottom of the deck. And then we can search out our traps. Because we can't do the whole like random show thing to our opponent, we're just going to grab one just to make things quick. So you could end up with any of these traps. You've got Eradicator. I actually put Eradicator at 2 because there's a 60% chance that you will see it. And it's not a card that's always good right now. It's good against Sky Strikers and stuff, but it's not gonna be your go-to play. So it's a card that's good when you have it sometimes, and that's why I have it at 2. I think Lost Wind or Back to the Front are probably going to be, they're also at 2 because that's consistent enough in my book. But if you want to make them more consistent, make some of your favorites at 3. I'm not going to be offended by that if you disagree. Let's go ahead and we'll set Back to the Front. Why not? We'll just pick a trap here. So that's there. We're not activating it. How about we set it? Okay, oh, it had set as an option. What is wrong with me? All right, there we go. And so, boom, we've got our first trap, and then we've got Lilith set with Lair. Then you're going to set Mask Change 2 Or if you preferred, you could do Super Poly if you want to kind of makeshift kaiju your opponent. At this point, you could pick either one that you want to set, whichever one's going to work better for you if you have both in your hand. I went ahead and got Mask Change 2 because I like tributing my opponent's cards and making them thus banished. Unless it's Thunder Dragons, you don't want to banish their stuff for them because sometimes they get good things out of that. But yeah, at this point, you would end your turn and you would get a token from that tribute, which you could then use Mask Change 2 on to get a Dark Law out. So we could go ahead and let's just say it's the standby phase or whatever. We do that. We lose the token. We also have to discard one card from hand. And then out comes your Dark Law. So now you've got a pretty oppressive board considering what, Lair of Darkness does. Because you've got your tribute to get more traps and so on. And, I didn't even get the most oppressive trap. But now you've got everything that they send to the grave going to the banish zone instead. And if they search, you get a free banish from their hand. So this is a really oppressive turn 1 board. But the one thing I want to clarify about Lair of Darkness, because I see a lot of comments about it, is like, I think people are expecting either Constant Negate or Break My Board, and Lair of Darkness just doesn't do that. The most oppressive thing it does is tribute your opponent's stuff. Or use like Eradicator, and now, you can do the Amorphage plays and stuff like that, but it's more of a control gradual win deck. It's not one of those decks that's just like, hey, I made this board and now I win. So if that's what you're expecting, don't play Lair of Darkness because you're not going to get that. But with that being said, it is what it is. Let's do another test hand here. It might brick. That happens sometimes. We'll reset the deck, draw another 5 cards here. Oh, that's actually quite good. That's not so bad. All right, we'll activate Trade-In because Diabolos is live in the grave. Where is the graveyard? Wow, I can't read for the life of me. I'm missing very obvious things. So we get to draw 2 here. Nice. Well, could have been better. We will set 1 Eradicator. We don't need to set both. The best bet right now would be normal summon Arima, tribute it off to draw 1 card, and then get Diabolos out of the grave. And you're looking at an Eradicator play at this point. So what you can do is... why did I lose 4,000 life? Oh, I just didn't. I reset the deck, not my life points. Big deal. It's okay. We're alive. We're fine. Everything's fine. The room's on fire, but it's fine. So yeah, at this point, I would... Not really. I'd keep your cards here. Let your opponent be afraid of what's in your hand. Remember, it's a little bit of a mind game sometimes. They could assume that you have hand traps, and that could be a deterrent. I'm not saying they will, but that's possible. If you play your whole hand, they know you have nothing. So sometimes it's good to hang on to things. But yeah, at this point, you have the ability to Eradicator your opponent. And if you tribute this Diabolos, you're just going to get another one. And he's a really tough boss monster to deal with in himself because he cannot be kaiju'd or targeted. So your opponent has to get rid of him another way. So yeah, that's still a really solid turn 1 in my personal opinion. Lair is very simple, guys. It's not a super complex combo heavy deck. So when people ask me to go through combos, I was kind of like, I mean, yeah, but no offense to those of you that were not sure how to play the deck, not trying to be insulting. It's just one of those things where it's not super complex. You kind of just get what you get and it works. But yeah, actually, because that was such a short turn 1, we can try another one here. We'll do 3 instead of 2. Let's see what we get. Will we brick? Actually, this is not the worst that could happen. Terraforming, sweet. We'll activate that. Get Lair of Darkness. It's an old video game victory sound. You're welcome. I'll send this to grave. So many windows. Man, Dueling Book is like a little bit confusing. I won't lie. Maybe I'm just so used to automated Why Go Pro. Don't make fun of me. That's just how I feel. Now, yep, I think the best option would be to activate Foolish, and you could say there are a couple things you could do here. My personal favorite thing, though, is to bring out the boss monster in the deck. You could send Destrudo and go for some synchro shenanigans, and you could technically have 2 negates on board if you'd like that, but I'm going to go for the Diabolos play, just because, why not? Just because, you know, sending out a Dawn Dragster's not always the best move. A blind negate setup sometimes, you know, I don't know. It's just not always the best option. So we'll just do something different. We will tribute Arima for the draw effect. And we get Diabolos. We could special summon this one or the graveyard one. We're going to go with the graveyard. All right. And then we will set a Lost Wind, and that's a pretty solid move. Oh, and yes, we'll set Super Poly. So this is a really good setup, actually. You've got crazy good boss monster. You're going to get a token, which is just nice for some extra monsters protection. Link plays later. You've got Lost Wind, a negation, which recurs on its own. And you've got Super Poly, which is like basically kaijuing your opponent's board, but you get a monster, which is why we are packing, well, if it would show what it is, Starving Venom. We can make Starving Venom with our opponent's monsters because of the fact that everything is dark. So pretty solid play, and Diabolos is live in the graveyard. So yeah, guys, these are some of the combos you can do. And you can do, I haven't even gone into some of the crazy plays, but it's a really solid deck. And if you didn't notice, we're doing some really cool, solid things without going heavily into our extra deck. And that's my point about this. Like, you can kind of throw in whatever in your extra deck with this build, and you can still play the deck even if you got locked out of it. You know, I said that really weird. Something happened. I think I said locked and out at the same time. But yeah, it's really solid, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing the combos. It's not super complicated, honestly. It's really fun, though. You can do a lot with it. You can change things around. You can really make this into what you want. You can make it into a control deck. I've made mine into kind of a combination of aggro and control. Just because I like that push forward to win the game, because otherwise, you know, Lair, I think where Lair can be weak is it sometimes can take too long to get to its win condition. And there are a lot of resilient decks now, like, you know, Salamangrates, what else? I think Witchcrafters are pretty like deceptively resilient, I think was the word that Team APS used for it, and I would definitely agree. So yeah, they're I mean, and look at Altergeist. That's kind of falling off in the meta, but it's still out there. There are lots of decks, is my point, that just they last too long. So the one thing I wanted to do with Lair was make it have a little more push, but still having those control aspects. So yeah, hopefully this makes sense for those of you that wanted to see the combos. Hopefully you liked them. Thanks for watching. And real quick, I will get out of here and show the profile, and we will be done. But if you do not have any interest in seeing the little minor changes I've made, you're free. You were anyway. I cannot keep you here. I will never know if you leave. So there you have it. But yeah, this is the profile, guys. I'll just kind of hover over some things. I've got a Morphage Goliath in here just for some extra deck lockout. We can use that Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon to bring that out of the Pendulum Zone pretty easy. So we can lock our opponent out of the extra deck. We threw in some Super Poly because you can just use your opponent's monsters to make a Starving Venom. Or you can go full-on casual Kiwi, and if you know they're playing dragons, use all their dragons to make the 5-headed dragon. I still can't believe that. That's so amazing. But anyway, yeah. There's lots of different things you can do with your side deck. This deck that I've made, I feel, is more of a going first build, so I've sided for going second, and just some other smokescreen techs. And yeah, you can do a lot with the extra deck too. Like I said, you don't need it to win, but there's lots you can do with it. So yeah, guys, that's the profile. Definitely give it a shot. Hopefully you like it. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, and just keep on doing what you're doing. See ya.